Welcome to the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate Question Bank series. In this video, we'll work through 10 exam-style practice questions designed to help you prepare for the AWS certification exam. For each question, I'll reveal the correct answer and walk you through a detailed explanation, not only why the correct answer is right, but also why the other options are wrong. Here's how to get the most out of this video. When each question appears on the screen, pause the video, choose your answer, and then press play to see how you did. And if you'd like to review the previous 10 questions in this series, just click the previous video link at the end of this video. Ready to test your AWS knowledge? Let's get started. Question 66. An IAM user is in a group that allows S3:getObject. But a separate policy attached to the user explicitly denies S3:getObject on the same bucket. What is the effective result? The correct answer is A. Access is denied because an explicit deny always overrides any allow. In IAM policy evaluation, an explicit deny always overrides any allow. Now, why the other options are wrong? Access is allowed because the group allow takes priority is incorrect. An explicit deny overrides the group's allow, so access is not allowed. Access depends on which policy was created first is incorrect. Policy creation order does not affect evaluation. Explicit deny always wins. Access is allowed only from the AWS Management Console is incorrect. The console versus API does not change the deny outcome. Question 67. A company wants all new Amazon EBS volumes in an account to be encrypted automatically. What is the simplest way to achieve this? The correct answer is B. Enable EBS encryption by default in the account and region settings. Enabling EBS encryption by default ensures all new volumes in that region are encrypted automatically. Now, why the other options are wrong? Manually encrypt each volume after it is created is incorrect. Manual encryption is error-prone and does not guarantee all volumes are covered. Store the volumes in Amazon S3 instead is incorrect. EBS volumes cannot be replaced by S3 for block storage, and this does not address encryption by default. Use a network ACL to encrypt the volumes is incorrect. Network ACLs control traffic and cannot encrypt volumes. Question 68. A compliance rule requires that objects can only be uploaded to an S3 bucket over encrypted connections. How can this be enforced? The correct answer is C. Add a bucket policy that denies requests where AWS:secure transport is false. A bucket policy denying requests when AWS:secure transport is false forces clients to use HTTPS, TLS. Now, why the other options are wrong? Disable the bucket's default encryption is incorrect. Disabling default encryption is unrelated to enforcing encrypted connections. Make the bucket public is incorrect. Making the bucket public weakens security and does not enforce TLS. Enable S3 transfer acceleration is incorrect. Transfer acceleration speeds uploads and does not enforce encrypted transport. Question 69. Administrators need temporary, elevated permissions only when performing specific maintenance tasks, rather than holding them all the time. Which approach supports this? The correct answer is D. Have administrators assume an IAM role with the elevated permissions only when needed. Assuming a role on demand grants temporary elevated permissions and follows least privilege. Now, why the other options are wrong? Attach administrator access permanently to each user is incorrect. Permanent administrator access violates least privilege. Share a single privileged IAM user is incorrect. Sharing a privileged user removes accountability and is insecure. Use the root user for maintenance is incorrect. The root user should never be used for routine maintenance. Question 70. A company must continuously assess whether its AWS resource configurations comply with internal rules and record configuration changes over time. Which service should it use? The correct answer is A. AWS Config. AWS Config records resource configurations and evaluates them against compliance rules over time. Now, why the other options are wrong? Amazon CloudFront is incorrect. CloudFront is a content delivery network, not a configuration compliance service. Amazon SQS is incorrect. SQS is a message queue and does not track configuration compliance. AWS Global Accelerator is incorrect. Global Accelerator improves network performance and does not assess compliance. Question 71. A team wants to scan its Amazon EC2 instances and container images for software vulnerabilities. Which service is designed for this? The correct answer is B. Amazon Inspector. Amazon Inspector automatically scans EC2 instances and container images for software vulnerabilities. Now, why the other options are wrong? Amazon Macie is incorrect. Macie discovers sensitive data in S3, not software vulnerabilities. Amazon Athena is incorrect. Athena queries data in S3 and does not scan for vulnerabilities. AWS Budgets is incorrect. AWS Budgets tracks cost, not vulnerabilities. Question 72. A security team needs a complete record of all API calls made in their AWS accounts for auditing and investigation. Which service provides this? The correct answer is C. AWS CloudTrail. AWS CloudTrail records API activity across AWS accounts for auditing and investigation. Now, why the other options are wrong? Amazon CloudWatch Metrics is incorrect. CloudWatch Metrics track performance data, not a full record of API calls. AWS WAF is incorrect. WAF filters web requests and does not record account API activity. Amazon Route 53 is incorrect. Route 53 is DNS and does not record API calls. Question 73. A company wants to identify any S3 buckets or IAM roles that are unintentionally shared with external accounts. Which service helps find this external access? The correct answer is D. AWS IAM Access Analyzer. IAM Access Analyzer identifies resources such as S3 buckets and IAM roles that are shared with external entities. Now, why the other options are wrong? Amazon CloudFront is incorrect. CloudFront is a CDN and does not analyze resource access. AWS Direct Connect is incorrect. Direct Connect provides network connectivity, not access analysis. Amazon Elasticache is incorrect. Elasticache is an in-memory cache, not an access analysis tool. Question 74. An AWS Lambda function must use a database password that should not appear in plain text in its environment variables or code. What is the recommended approach? The correct answer is A. Store the password in AWS Secrets Manager and retrieve it at runtime. Storing the password in Secrets Manager and retrieving it at runtime keeps it encrypted and out of code and plain text variables. Now, why the other options are wrong? Hard-code the password in the function code is incorrect. Hard-coding the password exposes it in the code. Put the password in a public S3 object is incorrect. A public S3 object would expose the password to anyone. Store the password in the function's description field is incorrect. The description field is not a secure secret store. Question 75. A company wants an S3 bucket to be accessible only through a specific VPC endpoint and nowhere else. How can this be enforced? The correct answer is B. Use a bucket policy with a condition on AWS:/source VPCE to allow only that VPC endpoint. A bucket policy that allows access only when AWS:/source VPCE matches the endpoint restricts access to that VPC endpoint. Now, why the other options are wrong. Enable S3 transfer acceleration is incorrect. Transfer acceleration speeds uploads and does not restrict access paths. Turn on S3 versioning is incorrect. Versioning retains object versions and does not restrict access. Attach an internet gateway to the bucket is incorrect. Buckets are not attached to internet gateways. This does not restrict access. And that's a wrap on this video. Nice work getting through those 10 questions. If this helped, you're going to want the complete set, all 390 exam-style questions, with full explanations across every exam domain, are available in our Udemy course. The link is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where I'll walk you through 10 more. See you in the next video.